show you the new project about Frida, but I'm just going to mention M305 is the one we did before, dynamic analysis. And this, when you connect to an emulator and run this MobSF thing, your dynamic analyzer will give you the ability to do various things, like you can test automatically for SSL, and you can get a copy of all the exported activities, which will show you an image of all the screens in the app. And those work. But then it has a bunch of Frida scripts down here to do other things, and in my experience, none of them work. Frida just doesn't work very well at all on this thing, and this is because of what we're about to see. Frida is very, very picky. You have to have just the right version of Frida at both ends, and both the attacking machine and the agent on the phone have to have the same version of Frida, and there are limitations on the operating system of the phone too. So in practice, it can be very hard to set up. So I was very pleased to get this one working. This is called instrumenting with Frida, and I updated M513 today. It works pretty well now, and it works on the M1. It should work on every machine. So use Android Studio and get an Android Studio device. Now, there are a couple of gotchas. Here's my Android Studio running. I had to make a new phone because you have to use API 30. If you use API 33, the app we're using will not work. And I see a comment in the chat. Let me go check for that. I was having trouble running Docker. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, Docker is an issue. Yeah, okay, good. All right, fair enough. All right, anyway, so first, this I discovered the hard way. You have to use API 30. Probably early ones are okay, but API 30 works. Then, of course, you have to choose an image that doesn't have Google Play, because you need a rooted phone. And that's what you do. If you don't have Google Play, then your phone will be rooted in the Android emulator. So that would do. So I used Pixel 3 XL, but it doesn't really matter about that. That just controls the size of the screen. So there's my phone, and I've got it running here. All right, so let me stop this running app. Okay. And now, go back to the instructions for the project. So now what you have to do is you have to get Frida tools. And you should be able to install it on any machine with Python with this command. Then you have to close that terminal and open a new window to get in there, because when you install it, it changes the path, but the path does not take effect except in new terminal windows. So after you've installed Frida tools, I should have it running here. Okay, let me get out of here, Control C, exit. Okay, and here I'm good. I'm out of there. Right. So if I clear, I can run Frida --version, and it'll tell you I do have Frida. The version really matters. This is the #1 problem people have. You're going to have to run Frida on your host machine that's running ADB. And you're also going to have to install Frida on the phone. And you have to have the same version at both ends or it won't work. So I got Frida 16 here, 16.2.1. So that's what I got just by doing Python -mpip, just getting whichever one was available for the Mac. And this is a Mac M1. I think it'd be the same on all Macs. Now you have to get the Frida server, which is the code that must run on the phone. And this is a little tricky. When you go here, there are a bunch of different Frida files. None of these are any good. These are the development kit and the CLR. I don't know what that is, but what you need is Frida server. And notice, I have Frida 16.2.1, but you can't get a Frida server for 16.2.1. It doesn't exist. This is quite common. People keep having different versions, and they don't always give you everything you need for every version. So you have to go down and expand some of the older ones. Expand the assets and see, this just has dev kits, gadgets, gum, whatever that is, gum IP, inject. I don't even know what all this crazy stuff Frida can do. Frida is really powerful when you get it working. As you see now, this thing has Frida server. So I'm not able to get exactly the same version, but I get as close as I can. And now you have to get the right one. And it tells you what it's going to run. This is Android on ARM. This is Android on ARM64. Here's x86 and x64. So these 4 files here are the only ones you're going to need. And I'm on a Mac M1, so my Android is running on ARM64. And you can tell here in Android Studio, right here, when you look, it tells you ARM64. If you're running on an Intel machine, it'll tell you Intel x86 64 or x86 if you're running a 32-bit phone. So find out what processor your phone has. There are only three choices: ARM64, Intel 64, and Intel 32. And then you get the right version of Frida that does that. You always run it on Android, and it's either on ARM64, x86, or x86 64. So this is the one appropriate for me. It's an XZ file, which is a kind of zip file. You can just right-click and open them on a Mac. And on a PC, you can use 7-zip to extract them. So after you extract it, you're going to have, that's ls / Frida. There we are. This is it. Here's my Frida server file up here. So you extract it, and then you have this. This is an executable or run on the phone. So what you do is you push it onto the phone here. So you push that file onto the phone, and you can tell it where to put it. And you put it in data local temp, just a folder to put it in. Then you go to a shell, escalate to root, and do chmod to make it executable, and then run it on the phone. So I'm going to get it running. That's up here. If I clear, now I'm going to do adb shell. Now I'm on the phone, but I'm not root. I have a $sign. So I do su to get to root, which is only possible because I don't have Google Play. Now I can run it, and it's in this location, data local temp, Frida server. And so I can just do /data local. I can use tab completion to finish the name of the file, and then just use tab completion to finish the name of the Frida server. So there it is. Now it's running on the phone. This is like a rootkit. This server is offering services to the apps on the phone. And what we're going to do is trick an app on the phone. So, as a demonstration, we're going to use a vulnerable app. This app here, called Uncrackable Level 1, is an app you can just drag and drop on your phone, and when you do, it presents you with a CTF puzzle. So the app, I just dragged and dropped it, and it's going to be here in my list of apps. There it is, Uncrackable. And when you launch it, it detects that you have a rooted phone, so you can't run. It's running something like root beer to find the root, and it won't run properly because so you're going to try to bypass root detection with Frida. So that app, close it. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to, you can examine the code. I don't think I'll do this live, but you can just put the code in JADX GUI, and you'll see root detection uses three functions here: CA, CB, and CC. If any of those return true, it says root detected. So these are three root detecting functions. And this is Pro Discover, I think. Pro something is a Google app that changes the names of things to just letters. So those are the three. ProGuard, yeah, ProGuard. Pro what?
Those are all to the A functions, B functions, C functions, those are all functions.
Yeah, yes, well, that's what they are. They're sub-functions of C, yeah. So you'll see them when we expand here, like this is A, and so we got to find CA, CB, and CC, and here they are. You expand it, here's C, CA, B, and C. So there they are. Just what ProGuard does is it changes all the names to just letters, removing all this, but it doesn't get them all, so it's not worth much. But now we can see these functions here. And you see it's looking for things. It's looking for the SU file, then you know you're rooted, and it's looking for other, using very simple tests to see if the phone is rooted, which is why they don't work on API 33. It's not a very good test. On API 33, the app never detects that you're rooted, but here it does. So now we know we want to just take over those three functions. So we need the app's name, so you can get it here by using Frida PS. By the way, this is how you tell if your Frida is working. You run Frida PS -u. This is a test. Once you have Frida running on your phone, let me clear it here. You test it with this command. This is used there. Frida PS -u. This will just dump all the running processes from the phone. And there you see it. And the only reason to do this is make sure your Frida server is working. If you don't have the right versions, it won't work. This can be very frustrating. But it is working here, And so now I want to look at grep uncrackable. Let's see, I used uncrack, huh? Should have been there. Oh, maybe the app is not running it. Oh, the app closed. The app closed. What's that?
Spelling wrong.
Oh,
Spelling.
no, I didn't spell it wrong, but the problem is that, yeah, but all you need is a few letters. But the problem is it's not running. You have to be running it. Now it's running, so now it'll find it. There you go. So now I have the name of the app, which is Uncrackable. All right. Anyway, now I'm going to close it again. I'll click OK, and it will close. All right, it'll close when I throw this away. All right. So now, this is where you create a JavaScript payload. This is JavaScript, and the JavaScript is going to take over these functions. So it's whenever you call A, in function A, it's going to return false, function B returns false, function C returns false. That's what it does. It will override those functions. So when the code, the Java code in the app tries to call this A, B, and C function, it will call this stuff instead and always be told that it's not rooted. So that's what it does. And so we should actually be able to watch it in the console log. I haven't tried this before, but let me try that. Let's do ADB logcat. Make this bigger. Let's see what these messages are. In function, okay. I'll just let it go. All right, there's the log. So now I had to create this file in the directory where I'm going to run this Frida from. So I did it here. That's the file, disable root.js. This is the JavaScript, which will override the functions in phone. And so now this is the command that does it. Frida over USB, I'm going through this, no pause, does not apply to version 16. I'll get rid of that. This loads the disabled root JavaScript and sends it to this app. So Frida is going to listen for function calls from this app, and it's going to redirect them to the functions in this file. This is what it does. They call this instrumenting. I'm more familiar with calling this kind of attack a rootkit. And so here, in this version of Frida, you don't need the no pause. So I'm going to get rid of it. There. And here's Frida. So there it goes. It's now communicating with Frida. It's got the functions appearing here. Okay, and I guess it's not going to appear in that kind of log. I'm going to get rid of this one. It's appearing here. This shows the 3 functions working exploit complete. It's now Trojaned those functions. So now I should be able to run this app, and it will not figure out that, it launched it automatically. Sorry, it automatically launched it. That's why it was up there without the ad. So let me just run it again. Make sure Frida is still running, and it is. So I'll run this again. You can see what it does. It launches the app, and it doesn't complain about it being rooted anymore. So this is how you bypass root detection, and you can take over any function. So that's pretty cool. That's why this is a very powerful technique. It's just tricky to set up, but once you got it, it's very useful. That's instrumenting. All right, why does the app on API 33? Well, I think we talked about that, because the root tests are very simple. And apparently API 33 has changed something, so those particular root tests don't work. Probably if it used some library like rootbeer, it would detect it. But it just seems to look in certain places for certain files, and those files have apparently moved in API 33. I didn't look into it any more than that. It's not a very clever app, but that's all. Okay, so I'm going to stop this recording, and